We all grapple with this whole idea of truth. What does it actually mean? Is it just like the bare facts? Or maybe something deeper?
Yeah, absolutely. And today, we're diving into a really fascinating perspective on that.
We've got this 1951 radio talk by Neville Goddard, simply titled Truth.
Right. And he doesn't just, state the obvious. He really pushes you to think way beyond just factual reporting. It's quite something.
So our mission today, basically, is to unpack Goddard's ideas. What does he mean by truth? How does it connect to things like love and imagination?
And importantly, what could this mean for us? How might it change how we see things? He starts with this really jarring question, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, the murderer's a door. It grabs you immediately.
Totally. He sets up this scenario. There's a murderer. They're at your door, and they ask if your mother is inside. What do you do?
And the implication is pretty clear, isn't it? You probably wouldn't just blurt out the factual truth in that situation.
Exactly. He's suggesting that maybe, just maybe, withholding the facts could actually be the more loving, the more ethical thing to do there.
Which straight away tells you he's not just talking about reciting facts. He's looking at context, intention, impact, all of it.
It forces you to pause, right?
Yeah.
It's saying what's literally true, always the right move.
And that leads him into thinking about that famous line from the Gospel of John.
Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So he asks, in that murderer scenario, would telling the truth actually lead to freedom for anyone involved?
Probably the opposite, you'd think. And this is where he makes that key connection. For him, biblical truth isn't this cold, abstract thing. It's always linked with love.
Right. He emphasizes that. It's always coupled with love. It's not just a rule book.
He even brings in another verse, sanctify them by the truth, and kind of asks, well, would handing your mother over to a murderer be an act of sanctification?
It's a powerful way to frame it. It definitely pushes you beyond a simple black and white view.
So this sets up his, let's say, deeper definition of what this kind of truth really is.
Okay, yeah. How does he put it? It sounded a bit complex in the original talk.
Well, he calls it that spiritual realization of conscious life in God towards which the human soul evolves through all eternity.
Wow, okay. That's a mouthful. Let's try and break that down a bit.
Yeah, I mean, basically, think of it less like a fixed destination, like, I have the truth now. It's more like a personal journey, an ongoing process.
An evolution almost, like your understanding is constantly growing.
Exactly. An evolution of your inner awareness, your connection to, well, something bigger. It's about your inner life unfolding over time.
That makes more sense. It's not static.
Yeah.
And he uses that image of illumination, right?
An ever-increasing illumination. I like that, too. It's like turning up a dimmer switch in a dark room.
You see more and more as the light grows.
Yeah. And he reassures people, don't be afraid of this. Finding a new truth doesn't negate the old one. It just adds layers. It builds upon it, gives you a wider view.
So it's a continuous discovery, not something to fear.
Right. And then he contrasts this kind of seeking with someone who thinks they've got it all figured out.
The smug, critical, holier-than-thou type.
Yeah, exactly that. He says a true seeker isn't like that at all. They embody that spirit from Zechariah.
Which one was that?
Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor, and let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor.
Ah, okay. So it's about honesty combined with good intentions, not just spitting facts regardless of the harm.
Precisely. Which ties into what he says about, the petty gossip.
Oh, yeah, the person who spreads negativity but hides behind, I'm just telling the truth, or it's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah, and Goddard's line there is so sharp. Never are we so blind to the truth as when we see things as they seem to be.
Because the surface appearance, the simple fact, can totally miss the real meaning, the deeper reality of a situation.
It can be incredibly misleading. And that leads to maybe his most potent statement on this.
The one about intent.
Yes. A truth told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent.
Wow. Just let that sink in for a second.
Right. Even if something is technically accurate, if your reason for saying it is malicious to wound someone,
then it's worse, more destructive than an outright lie.
It completely shifts the focus, doesn't it? From just, is it true, to why am I saying this, and what effect will it have?
Which brings us to what feels like the absolute core of his argument, this idea of imaginative love.
Yes, the truth that is within us is governed by imaginative love.
Okay, imaginative love. What exactly does he mean by that? It's not just like feeling affectionate, is it?
No, it's much more active than that. It's about consciously actively using your imagination
How so?
to like picture the best for other people, to hold an image of their well-being, their success, their potential, fueled by genuine care, by love.
So it's an intentional act of creation almost,
Yeah.
using imagination constructively for others.
Exactly. He sees it as a powerful force. And he suggests that when your whole mindset, your attitude, is shaped by this kind of imaginative love, that's actually a form of worship, a spiritual practice.
Interesting. So living from that place of imaginative love allows you to perceive true truth.
That's the idea. It's the lens through which authentic truth becomes visible.
He quotes Robert Browning too, doesn't he? Something about truth being internal.
Yeah, that's a great one. Truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things, whate'er you may believe.
So again, reinforcing that it's not primarily about external circumstances or facts.
There is an immortal center in us all where truth abides in fullness. It's about connecting with that inner core, discovering it within.
And imagination is key to that connection.
Absolutely. He explicitly says the original birthplace of imagination is in love.
Love is its lifeblood, I think he says.
And when imagination operates from that place of love, the mental images, the thoughts, the feelings we generate, he calls them images of truth.
Meaning they reflect the true inherent potential and goodness in things.
That seems to be it. But then there's the flip side, right?
The danger if imagination isn't rooted in love.
Yeah. If it gets driven by fear instead.
Then what happens?
Then, he says, it creates perverted and contorted reflections, distorted images, basically.
So the fuel for our imagination, love or fear, determines the kind of truth we perceive and maybe even create.
Precisely. He boils it down to those two fundamental motivators, love and fear. They drive our thoughts, our words, our actions.
And his advice is?
To consciously train the imagination, to keep it operating within the atmosphere, as he puts it, of infinite love. He brings in those huge statements, God is love and love never faileth.
Right. Keep your inner world centered on love. But it's not just about inner states, is it? He brings it back to the real world.
Definitely. He insists that the ultimate test, the proof, is in the results, the manifestation.
What's the phrase he uses? Incarnation.
Is the only true realization.
Yeah.
So these loving thoughts, these positive imaginings, they need to actually show up, to become tangible in our lives and experiences.
It's not enough just to think nice thoughts. You have to see them reflected in reality.
That's the crucial test. Your understanding has to be lived out, made real.
And that connects to what he says about self-concept, right? How we see ourselves.
Yes, hugely. He quotes Emerson there. Man ever surrounds himself with the true image of himself.
Meaning our external reality reflects our internal self-image.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He suggests we're often our own jailers. The limitations we feel, the barriers we see, they might just be projections of our own beliefs about what's possible for us.
Like we've locked ourselves in, but the door isn't actually bolted.
Exactly. He says the prison doors are often just ajar. We just need to recognize the truth of our own potential, our own power to push them open.
That's empowering. Our inner story shapes our outer world. If we change the inner truth.
The outer reality can shift. It brings it all back home, really.
So wrapping it up, how does he define truth in the end?
He concludes by calling truth our secret inward reality, the cause, the meaning, the relation of our lives to all things.
So it's the deep internal foundation of our experience.
Yeah. And his hope, he says, is that grasping this understanding will lead to, well, expansion, more understanding, and ultimately real freedom for people.
Okay, so if we were to boil down Goddard's core message for everyone listening, what would it be?
I'd say it's this. Yes, facts matter on one level, but the kind of truth that truly liberates you, that sets you free, that truth is fundamentally tied to love.
And to the creative power of your own imagination.
Right. It's not something you just find out there. It comes from within you, from that immortal center he talks about.
It starts inside.
Exactly. Which leads to a really practical, maybe provocative thought for listeners to take away.
Okay, let's hear it.
Think about some situation you're dealing with right now, or maybe a relationship.
Yeah.
What would happen if you consciously tried to apply this imaginative love?
Meaning actively picturing the best possible outcome. Guided by genuine care.
Yeah, really focus on that desired positive reality rooted in a feeling of love or goodwill. Could doing that maybe shift how you see the whole thing?
Could it reveal a deeper kind of truth about the possibilities?
And maybe, just maybe, help bring that more positive reality about. It's definitely something to ponder, isn't it?
It really is. So we definitely encourage you all to sit with these ideas from Neville Goddard, see how they resonate.
Yeah, mull them over, see if they fit with your own experience of truth.
And hey, if this deep dive sparks something for you, his work is definitely worth exploring further. It offers a very different, very empowering lens on reality and our potential within it.